Hey guys, welcome back to Sports Cards Analysis. I'm JT with another case break simulation. Today we got 2022 Clearly Donruss football. This product comes out today, so I'm trying to get this video out quickly. Disclaimer, I'm going to give you a ton of advice on breaks and teams and breakdowns and prices and all kinds of stuff. If you take my advice, that's at your own risk. I'm not responsible, but I've been getting awesome feedback. Thank you so much for all the people who put in the comments the hits they get. Keep that up. Every time you use my advice and you get hits, leave it in the comments section. I want to hear about it. I have a Facebook page and I have a Twitter, but I haven't really done anything with it. And I'll probably get an Instagram account. That way, you guys can take pictures and share the hits that you're getting or take screenshots when the breaker hits. I just want to see what kind of stuff I'm helping you get. So that's cool. 2022, Clearly Donruss. What is this? Obviously, this is an old version, so just bear with me while I talk about this product. It's an acetate clear version of Donruss. I think personally Donruss is Panini's least valuable set. It's it's kind of their base top series one. Donruss is kind of the base Panini set. And so given that there's not a lot of value, they're going to do similar to what Topps does, and they're going to release different sets of this in order to get different parallels. So this is a clear acetate version. And I'm showing this Justin Fields card from last year just to show you an example of how it looks with the back, because the back, you can see the player, the action shot through the back, and they also use some transparency in that background. This is all the aesthetic stuff that I like to talk about. If you're just interested in the breakdowns, obviously skip ahead, but I'd love to have you just stick around and listen to this description. I'm going to try to make these videos a lot more concise. But anyway, this you could read this. This is what it is. It was introduced as a basketball product, then they released it for football that same year. It was for the 2019 product. I don't know that the football one, the 2019 clearly, if they had it, it came out in 2020. If otherwise, it was the 2020 version. And then the hollows there's three different hollow types. There's gold, platinum, and one other one. I think it might just be mosaic or just hollow. And the platinum is a one of one. So that's what it is. I think it's really popular, and I think this looks really, really nice because in some ways, like I think they could have made the player action shot transparent as well so you could see it on both sides of the card. But I'm actually okay with this silhouette style thing. So that's from Check Out My Cards. And that's just the last year's version to show you kind of what these cards look like if you haven't seen them. Super cool. Here's all the information from GoGTS. If you want to read it, just pause the video, read through this. This is everything you should expect from this product. I don't need to go through it, but I will highlight one thing. Beckett did say that there were 3 short prints. GTS defines them as case hits. I don't think they even define them as short prints. So I'm going to go with the fact that there's 4 short prints. The New Clear is a new one. There's Downtown Night Moves and Gridiron Marvels, so that's accounted for in the simulation that I'll run later. So you're going to get 5 cards per pack, 4 packs per box, 16 boxes per case. And there are 50 base cards, veterans, and then there are 50 rookie cards considered base. But when you do the breakdown, the rated rookies are separate from the base because you are guaranteed 8 of them per box. So that is why I split them up. Comes out today, and I think hobby boxes should be priced around $175 to $200. And I'm actually going to try to build a little pricing model for player value and combined with probability. And once we add those two things together, can we get a very accurate value price per hobby box? And then I'll put that in the videos. If you guys are interested, let me know in the comments, and I'll develop that. And what that would do is if you start to see things like Clearly Donruss being listed for $300, is that because current value, like if you guys want to remember last year, WWE Prism just exploded. Boxes went up to like $450, $500 a piece. There were boxes selling for $800, hobby boxes of wrestling. And I'm not critical of wrestling. I'm critical of spending $800 on a hobby box. Why don't I develop a pricing model to tell you whether or not that's irrational? That would be pretty cool. So let's look at this year's version of the cards. Obviously, Donruss came out already. I did a video on Donruss. And so here's the design there. This is the red parallel. Here's all the parallels and their print runs. What I've done in the simulation is assumed, and some of these numbers is I've assumed what these might be, the mosaic and the gold. So keep that in mind when I tell you how many cards each player has. The rated rookies, similarly, they're going to have parallels, and they have autographs and autograph parallels. So there's what Kenny Pickett's look like. Now, one of the interesting things about this product is that the clear version of Donruss didn't come out until 2020. So they're saying, this is all Beckett's text here. They're saying that Panini decided to re-release or reprint rated rookie cards from earlier years on the new acetate card stock. That way they can have them. Now, this does not count as a rated rookie card. It can't count as a rated rookie card because it's not a rookie year. So I'm not sure what the reception to this is going to be. I think it's definitely going to confuse people, and people are going to pull these cards, the kids mostly, and be like, wow, I got this Josh Allen rookie card, but you didn't. And so that's going to be disappointing. I don't think that this is something you do 20 years later, not a few years later. Champions is people who've won Super Bowl. Clearly, rookies obviously is the rookies. It's they either have rated rookies or the rookies. That's kind of Donruss's thing. And then they have downtown short prints, gridiron Marvel short prints, and the new clear short print. I didn't have an example of the other one, which I've already forgotten what it is. It was the Night Moves. Yeah, Night Moves. Night Moves looks great in the current Donruss product, so it's going to look great on acetate. Cases of this is going to cost $27.49, so I've developed this pricing model based on Steel City's prices so that there's a little markup. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give you the distribution of all the dollars and cents in that case cost, and I'm going to spread it across all the teams. That way, if you were to pay, instead of paying for an autograph based on the players on it, you're paying an equal amount for the probability that you'll get a hit. If you want to know more about this method, go watch previous videos. I explain a lot more in those videos. But essentially, you can't pay for cards you haven't hit yet. You need to pay for the probability. So I'm going to split the cost of the case across all the teams based on how many total autographs there are of those teams. So if you look at the checklist, you're going to see that there's unique variants, and that is just the different cards and subjects, players, that have a card in that category. So this category is autographs. These first three rows are autographs, then inserts, then SPs. And so what we're going to look at instead of the unique number is the actual print run. So when I do some calculations to figure out how many cards are going to be made, I don't exactly know for parallels like the gold and the hollow mosaic exactly how many are made, but I make some educated guesses based on the fact that I can figure out how many cases they're probably going to print. There's always a margin of error, so keep that in mind. But this is relatively accurate, and if I'm wrong equally across all the teams, and so the order and the rank is still correct. So keep that in mind. So let's just jump right in here. The New York Jets are going to be the team with the most autographs, and that doesn't mean that they have the most valuable autographs. What that means is you have the highest probability of hitting an autograph by the Jets. And because of that, if you were to pay for probability, you would pay about $200 for the Jets. And that would be a fair distribution of the cost by team for the case, so the breaker can make their money back, but you're also not overpaying or underpaying on probability. Don't get fooled and roped into paying for, and we'll talk about this in the player checklist, don't get roped into paying for teams that you think have the best players. It doesn't mean that they have the most autographs, and you might never hit that. Anyway, so what this means is if you bought every case of clearly Donruss, you would get 2,321 Jets autographs, and that's what that number means right there. So if you want to pay based on auto, there you go. I'm going to go through the 4 pages of teams there are. So this is 1 through 10, top autograph numbers, 11 through 20, 21 through 30, and the remainder. And there are these multi-team cards. You can see they're not autographs; they are insert cards. So keep that in mind, because that is not part of the autograph teams. They're just single teams. So with that, take screenshots and use that in when you make your purchases into breaks, or you're thinking about buying a hobby box. Remember this, because it will affect the value of the cards. Now, if we look at insert cards, I'm not even going to use the price column anymore for inserts and anything else, just autographs, because I don't feel like it's very valuable. So if you are chasing inserts, go for the Cowboys. Don't overpay, though. Remember, there's only 858 autographs from the Cowboys, which is a lower number. They're actually ranked 23rd, or not 23rd. This isn't a rank. This is the number of unique. The rank is the next table. Sorry about that. 858 total autographs, but they have the most inserts. So if you're going for insert cards, and these are not short prints. These are every insert except the short prints. And so the Cowboys have the most, and there they are. I'll go through a few pages of those. So if you are looking for those inserts on acetate, these insert cards look really nice. So it's not, don't be afraid to go after the inserts, even though they aren't short prints. Now, if you are going for the short prints, here's the teams with the most. I had to make an assumption here. Based on blowout forums, I've just basically said if it's called a short print, it's going to be out of 25. And if it's a super short print, it's going to be out of 10. The reason I do that is because I have to assume the print run, and because there's one short print per case, it's easy to kind of just then use that number to figure out how many cases will be made. So with that, this number might not be totally accurate, but I will say that there is a short print for 4 different cards: the Night Moves, Gridiron, whatever, the Downtown, and the New Wave, or New whatever that one was. I'll actually just go Gridiron, Marvels, Downtown, New Clear, and the Night Moves. So based on that, there's 4. You should have 25 per, and then there's going to be a 1 of 1 of each of those. So for this, for example, the Rams, you have 14. So that's probably, well, actually not 14. You have 182. Let me go to an easier number to interpret. This one right here, the Las Vegas Raiders. You have 104, so what you likely have is 4 different short prints, because you have 25 for each of them. That equals 100, and then a 1 of 1 for each of them. That's 4, so 104. And so there are 8, and that makes sense, right? Because we have 4 of the regular, and then 4 of the 1 of 1, so there's 8. So there you go. That's how that works. Hopefully that wasn't confusing, because I confused myself. So if you're going for short prints, here's the teams you want to get in the order they are. And if you want to avoid teams that have a low number of short prints, avoid these teams because they have very few, and the probability of you getting those short prints is very low. And for these teams, it's 0. So don't get the Panthers thinking you're going to get a short print. That was one of them, right? I don't want to be wrong here. Yeah, don't get the Panthers thinking you're going to get a short print, because you're not. There's 0 probability. Now, if you're going for those parallels, here's the teams with the most. I'm not even going to go to the next page on parallels, just because they're pretty much going to be equal based on the number of base cards per team. But what you probably are interested in is how many rookie cards there are. And there are far more for the Jets than any other team. And what that tells us is that if we're going for rookies, we want the Jets. Then the Packers, Commanders, etc. I'll go through a couple pages of those. You could take screenshots for that, so you know which teams to buy if you're chasing rookies. Now, total number of cards for all the different types of sets, parallels, autographs, inserts, etc. The 49ers have the most. And if we were to then distribute the cost of the case by the total number of cards, the probability that you'll just rack up cards when you're in a break, the 49ers are the best, and you should pay about $163. That doesn't mean you're going to get a great hit, because we can go to the autos, and they have 1,977. So actually, it kind of matches really closely to their auto price distribution. But if we look at the Jets are 194 because they have the most autographs, but they don't have the most cards. They have the 4th most cards, which means that you're going to walk away with, a little less number of cards than person who picked the 49ers, typically on average. So you might want to pay in between 127 and 200. So that's giving you kind of a range there. So there's by order of the number of cards by team, which we'll talk about again later. Here's the order that they fall into. And the team with the least is the Broncos. All right. So now that's just based on the probability that you'll get a hit. There's nothing about the player value in there. Now I'm going to talk about player value and do the same breakdown by player value. I have developed my own algorithm that rates these 1 through 5. I use metrics about the popularity of players in online searches. So that would then be indicative of how quickly you could sell a product and how much you might sell it for. Is it profitable? Is it popular? Things like that. So a 4 or 5 means high profit ROI, and that includes the fact that you will not have to hang on to that card for very long. And a 1 or 2 means that you might either sell it at a loss, you might hold on to that card forever, and if you're considering shelf space as part of your ROI, that's part of it. So you might sell at a loss, or you might never sell it, and it'll just sit in your collection forever. And a lot of cards do wind up doing that, which is why at the end of this video I tell you, based on what type of collector you are, whether or not you should even buy hobby boxes or breaks or singles or whatever. So the total value of the autograph checklist on its own without the inserts, and well, it does. I did include the short prints in this because I wanted you to know the value here. Is a 3.3. That's about average for Panini. Panini usually puts out autograph checklists that are between 25 and 40% in the category of 4 and a 5, so highly profitable. They water down a lot of their auto checklists. I don't think that's on purpose. I think that what they wind up doing is they pick some rookies at the beginning of the season, and a lot of those rookies go bust or don't play at all. So a 3.3, that's fine. 36% of the checklist does fall between a 4 and a 5. That's about average. The total product strength, including all the other stuff, is at 3.6, so a little higher because there's good insert checklists. There's really good short print checklists, decent, the parallels add into that, the base set adds into that, and so it gets a little bit higher. So if you want to know who's the strongest team to buy, if you want the highest probability of ROI and autographs, well, that'd still be the Jets. But you could pay a little bit more because now we're talking the value of the Jets is higher because the players have a decent ROI. Not all of them, but some of them. And those ones that do might have a higher print run. Remember, there's a lot of variables that go into these equations. So what I'm just telling you here is that based on my calculations, this is the order. So here's 1 through 10 and the prices that you should pay based on the probability of ROI. 11 through 20, take screenshots, use this in your purchases, and then let me know what kind of hits you get. There is 21 through 30, and there's the remainder of them. All right. So these guys still, these multi-team ones are not autographs. Don't forget that. All right, so let's look at the strength of insert now, and the Colts, Cowboys, Rams. We'll go through that. Strength of checklist. Don't worry about the price for insert. I don't think anyone would want to base their purchase based on the insert checklist strength. So I include that because I want to. That's it. So what about short prints? Well, the Rams, obviously, because they have the most short prints, they're going to be the most valuable. And they, if you're really going after short prints, I'm going to remind you there's 1 per case. Just because there's 4 different short prints, they're all case hits. So there's only going to be 1 per case of any of those 4 short prints. So there's the order by short print and page 2, page 3, and then avoid these teams because they don't have any short prints. All right, let's talk about rookies. Who's the best team for rookies? The Jets again, then the Texans, Steelers, Falcons. There's page 2, there's page 3, and there's page 4. Remember, you're looking at the column I highlighted, so make sure that when you use this data, you're not looking at the wrong column. For parallels, it's really irrelevant because it's going to be just like the base set because all the parallels come from the base set. So let's just look at full product strength. This is the calculation that I'm showing here. This is across each team for rookies, short prints, autographs, parallels, everything, insert cards. So the Titans are the single best team to buy in this. And that doesn't mean that they're the strongest for autographs. That means that is the team that provides you with the highest probability of ROI. So this is for investors mostly, people who flip cards, things like that. I personally am just a collector. I don't flip them, but this is based on actual, investor style data analysis. So the Titans are going to be your top team, and we'll just go from there. So there's the next 10, and then the next, and the least valuable teams as far as ROI go. And that is because these ones, honestly, is because of rarity, because of how rare they are. So that's that. Now, what is the distribution of players across my scale? Just to tell you kind of how this product, I do give it a score. It's at 3.6, but here's what it looks like. There's a lot of 5s, a lot of 3s, and then all the other ones. There's some 4s in here. That's pretty good. We just compare this to other products, and you'll see that this is a pretty good product as far as checklist goes. For the master checklist, let's just go, let's look at players. Who has the most cards? So the total number of all cards for everything is going to be Aaron Rodgers. He has 10,120. And again, there are some assumptions made about the base. I assume the base is 6190, that there's going to be a print run of 6,190 base cards. Is that too many? I don't know. I don't think so. I think that's probably right. If there's a little over 2,000 cases, like 2,100 cases, then this is the print run of the base set. So if I'm wrong, though, then these numbers are equally less, and the ranks still apply. Okay, so, and this is primarily due to things like in the insert sets, there's 50 unique Aaron Rodgers cards, and that number is correct. And then Tom Brady, Cooper Kupp. So let's go through this and see, which players have the most cards. And there they are. So a lot of the more valuable players we know to be veterans and high quality athletes, people who return a profit, typically they're going to have the most cards. But you'll see, and I'm just flipping through this so you can take screenshots. You'll see that when we go to the autographs, so this is for base cards, it's all going to be the same. But when we go to autographs, total number of autograph cards, it's much, much different because the majority of them are going to be rookies. So, most of these rookies are going to have 649 autograph cards. Now we get a little less and a little less, but you can see that the really good players, well, Brock Purdy had a couple in there, so keep that in mind. I know a lot of people ask about Brock Purdy. Justin Herbert. So now we're getting into people that we might actually want to collect, and this is for total number. Now look how many, there's so many more or less. Donovan McNabb, much less. Tony Romo, we're talking under 100. So now we're saying the probability of getting these higher value players is even just extraordinarily low. Like Steve Young's got 25. So there is the breakdown of who has autographs in this set. And you know what? That's it. Then we get to 0. So that's everyone. And this is not Zach Wilson has 0. This is Zach Wilson with this configuration of other players on the card. So each of those will be represented here. And so that's it for autographs. So that's if you're looking for autographs. Now, if you're looking for short prints, let's look at who has the most. Kenny Pickett has 104. Jameson Williams. So a lot of the rookies have. Patrick Mahomes also has a lot. So that's good to know. Him and Joe Burrow have several, and then Tom Brady. So these are the guys with the short prints. If you're chasing short prints, these are the guys you might be able to expect to get. And I'll only go through 5 pages on that one. So that's for the short prints. And the rookies, total number of rookie cards, let's look at that. It's going to be the same because it's the rated rookie. And there you go. I'm not even going to flip through that because they all have the same. Insert cards, let's see. Who has the most insert cards? That's going to be Tom Brady, then Cooper Kupp, then Aaron Rodgers. So Aaron Rodgers actually doesn't have the most insert cards, which is interesting because he has 50 different cards, which means he's probably got a lot of autographs and base parallels and things like that. So there's the players with the most inserts, just a couple pages there. I don't need to go through them all because they're just insert cards. And then parallel cards. Total number of parallels is pretty much going to be everyone who's got a card in the base set. So there you have it. That is a player breakdown. Now let's just look by team. I've already kind of gone over this, so I'm not going to go over it again. The team with the most cards is the 49ers. They have 177 unique. So even though the Steelers have 185 unique cards, they actually have less total cards because the print runs lower on the cards they do have. And that would be things like that Kenny Pickett short print case hit. Maybe he's got those, and the 49ers have more, just have less cards, but they have a higher print run. So think about that. Whoops. So that's the team order. There's the top 10, and then there's the bottom 10. Okay. Now by print run, we want to know how rare are these cards? Well, there's 496 one of ones, and so keep that in mind when you get a one of one. It's actually pretty rare. Panini usually puts out products that have 1,000 one of ones. This one only has about 500, so that's pretty good. And if you are chasing those one of ones, here they are. The Titans have the most with the Steelers at 28. Then the Jets, 49ers, Packers, Falcons, Cowboys. Here's the next page in case you want to know. I'm just going to do it by one of ones so that you know which teams have the most one of ones, and then the rest of those. I am looking to put this data online so you guys can just explore it yourself. Type of hit. What's the rarest card in this set? Well, clearly retro rated rookie 2017 Hollow Platinum is a one of one, and this exact version does not have an additional card, so that's just going to be a one of one with only one version. And then the same thing for the 2019, same thing for then the 2018 actually has two one of ones, and the 2016 has three one of ones. So that's because they're recreating rookies from those years, and apparently 17 and 19 only had one rookie worth remaking their rated rookie card. Okay, so those are the rarest cards in the set. Now I simulate the case breaks, and I hope you've made it this far through the video. What I do is I do 20 case break simulations, and this provides you with a realistic example of what this case break might look like in the real world. So it's not just based on checklists, it's based on the probability of like pack odds, print runs, things like how many autographs per box, how many rookies per box, things like that. It's all factored in here. So these are a realistic example of what a case break might be. So this is case number 20. The only reason I show you this table is just to show you that I did it and to kind of give you an example. My short print was a night moves from Jalen Hurts. That's a pretty good case hit. I like that. And I did not get a one of one. The lowest print run number card I got was the rated rookie hollow gold, Tyler Algier. So there you go there. But I am going to give you a better breakdown in a minute. What did I get by team for just this one case? Now I will aggregate all 20 of them in a minute, but this is for just one case. I got the most Titans, then the Dolphins, Eagles, Steelers. So a little different order than what it would be if you just went off who has the most cards, because the 49ers have the most cards, but I actually got the most Titans. So there you go. There, I didn't get any one of ones, which is what this table would be. And I wanted to show which short prints I got. I got that Jalen Hurts night moves. Now for all 20, now I got 6 one of ones. So that means that it would take, to get 6 one of ones, you need to break 20 cases. That's what that means. That's like a odds thing. For every 20 cases you open, you should get 6 one of ones. So they're a little more rare than one per case, because the case hit here is a short print, which could be a one of one, or it could be a regular short print out of a low number, 25, 10, something like that. But in 20 cases, I did get a night. Well, these are just the one of one. So I'll talk about the case hits here. So these are all the short prints. Each of these is a case hit. I should have 20, which I do, and I got a few of them being one of one. So in 20 cases, here are all the case hits I got. Let's just sort by set name here. I got 6 downtowns. And I got this downtown one of one parallel. I got 4 gridiron marvels, which is, I think, a really nice card, but I think it's probably one of the least popular of the short prints. Not saying it's not popular. I'm saying it's the least popular. Then night moves, which I think is a great looking card. Josh Allen, that's good. Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts. Those are some good night moves cards there. That Jalen Hurts one was from case 20 because we just showed that. There's a lot of actual good players here. Bo Jackson, Joe Montana. Got 2 Joe Montanas of the same set. And then I got a night moves hollow platinum of Jonathan Taylor. And then I got a new clear of Jonathan Taylor. Cooper Kupp, Breece Hall, James Winston. So that's how it's going to go. Sometimes these case hits might be not worth much. Sometimes they're going to be really huge, awesome hits. So by all 20 cases, I got the most 49ers. So that actually worked itself out. It's not the Titans this time. So this is why I show all 20 cases aggregated. Kind of smooths out the anomalies. There you go. With those teams, actually, I'll let you screenshot that. This is the most cards because this is, again, a realistic example based on data, not based on just who has the most cards. All right, and then there's the one of ones I got. They're from the Packers, Texans, Colts, Raiders, Vikings, Titans. That does not really tell you anything about probability because there's only 6 of them. But if you are searching for one of ones, try that. and or don't, just whatever, just go for whoever has the most short prints. And then for in this 20 case break, who had the most autographs? It was the Commanders, and then these teams followed. Here's the teams that I got the least number of autographs from. Okay, got these. There they are. Now, inserts, I got the most cards from the Bengals, in that order there. Parallels, I got the most cards from the 49ers. And rookies, I got the most of the Jets and the 49ers. And the short prints, I got Jets, Raiders at 3, and then the rest fall lower than that. So there it is. My overall recommendation, I think that acetate cards are cool. I personally would collect them. I do collect them. I think that grading acetate cards can be beneficial because corners and edges don't suffer very, very much, but surface damage can be very easy, especially you could chip the ink, and then there's a huge, basically, gap in your card. I think because this whole set, even the base set, are just parallels of Donruss. I think the value is there. It's more than what Donruss base is going to be, and I think the value holds up. There's some iconic cards like the rated rookies, which could become iconic themselves. Now the rated rookie reprints, those retros, the jury's out, I'm saying here, but I don't see the value. I don't see why anyone would want to be duped by that, but that's Panini, that's what they want to do. Okay, so who should buy this product? Well, casual collectors, just get the hobby box, add to your collection, have some nice acetate cards, and move on. $200 a box, this is kind of a lot, but if you're a casual collector who has the money, yeah, go in. I mean, if you're a team collector, obviously do breaks. I don't even need to define being a team collector because obviously breaks. If you're on a budget, don't buy this. $200 a box is way too much. Just eventually you might find a card you like, buy the single. But if you're on a budget, I mean, you got to be careful. The people who love getting things graded, breaks, singles, don't waste your time with having all these base cards and stuff because I find that people who like to get things graded and the investors, they don't want to have a huge PC. They don't want all these base cards sitting around in white boxes on their shelves. So just breaks and singles. Investors, probably get in on this product because I think if you're an investor, this product will have a good ROI. Again, you're going to have some busts in there, which is why I'm kind of saying do a little bit of everything. But even the base set being on acetate, it's still worth something. Set builders, hobby, breaks, singles, you're going to want to, it's a small set, so it's going to be hard to build, but you're going to want to get into everything. And kids, just buy singles. I don't know that kids really should be in this product, but at least the cards are durable. So, and then I'm not talking about the kids who walk around at card shows with their little Panini briefcases or their PSA briefcases and, try to haggle with people, which I think is awesome. I'm talking about kids who are terrible at keeping their rooms clean and collect basically ruined cards. That's what I'm talking about there. And team breaks, random team breaks, don't get into those. There's too much disparity between the top teams and the bottom teams. Serial number breaks, yes. Hit draft, yes. I think this is a safe product to get into. Just don't do random team breaks. And be careful with your money, people. Sometimes it's gambling. Sometimes you have data to back up your purchase. Use the data. Make good purchases. Join me next time. I don't know what I'm going to review. That's it. 2022 clearly Donruss football. Bye.